Hello, and welcome back to Guided Souls. I'm your host, Katie, and I'm so excited to be back here for another week with you guys. This week, we are talking about signs to look out for when the universe is redirecting you. And the reason we are talking about this week is because I am being put on pause again. And it's not really being put on pause because I'm doing a lot of deep transformational work in the background, but I'm at least being put on pause from like a work, career, entrepreneur standpoint, which in the past has been very frustrating. But I know now, I feel like this is the first time where I'm actually very calm, cool, and collected about it. I feel at peace because I know that it's getting me ready for whatever is coming around the corner. And if you listen to this podcast a lot, you might be thinking, Katie, how many times can one person be put on pause and or redirected for that matter? And my answer to that is a good question. I have no idea, but I guess my answer would be however many times it takes. And I think there is an element of like the more drastic the change of path that you're going down, the more times you are going to be redirected or paused on that path because it's unlike anything you've ever experienced before. So the odds that you're going to get it exactly right the first time and have all the tools that you need the first time are pretty low. And like for me, I went from working a corporate 9 to 5 job to being like an entrepreneur in the spiritual industry, which I have like no experience doing business and a career within the spiritual world. And even more than that, within like content creation or anything like that. So it's been a big learning curve for me over the past year. And I feel like I'm hoping that this is kind of the last really big redirect that I have for a while, but I don't know. There could be another one in the future. And you might also be thinking, Katie, you told us the last time that this happened to email you and say, anytime you're being put on pause and you don't know what the answer is being a medium. Like always come back to that. And to that, I say, you may be right. That may be what's happening. Um, but even if I'm meant to continue doing the exact same mediumship work that I was before, I recognize that my approach to it, my intention, and like the inner work and relationship that I have to it needs to change in order for that to actually be a fulfilling career for me. So I definitely know that mediumship is still like a part of my path, whether it's the main thing or not is yet to be revealed. But I know that even if it's the main thing, even if I continue doing the exact same thing that I've been doing, I have work internally, and my relationship to the work needs to change in order for it to be fulfilling for me. So, today I am going to walk you through some of the signs that you are being put on pause or redirected. And they're kind of synonymous. Usually you're put on pause because you are being redirected, but it could also just be like internal work that needs to be done before they continue you down the same path. Um, but we'll go through, signs that you're being put on pause, signs of like what to go towards. You're like, okay, now I'm on pause. What the heck is my next step? Kind of what to look for there. And then also just some tips because I've been through this a lot. And I know that this is like, I don't know, maybe the third or so episode regarding being put on pause, maybe even fourth. I don't know. But I know that the topics that come through for me are meant to be shared with people who are listening to it. And I know that being redirected in your life and switching paths is very scary and can feel very overwhelming. So if this is coming up again, if I'm meant to share this again, it really just means that there's more to be said that I haven't shared yet that is going to help someone. So maybe you're going through a moment of pause and redirect right now, or maybe you'll go through one in the future and you can refer back to some of the information in this podcast. And before I dive into like the meat of the episode, I don't know why I don't like that word, the meat of the episode. The bulk, the main thing. I don't know. I just want a different word other than that. But I have new like my first merch for this podcast. So at the end of each of these episodes, I say, keep going, you're doing amazing, and I love you. And so I have these cute, like, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. I'm wearing it. But if you're listening to it, it's like this baseball cap that's kind of like a corduroy material. I have it in green, like this olive green, which is what I'm wearing. It looks kind of gray, honestly. Navy, black, and I think that might be it. Um, and I have ones that say, one says keep going. I have another hat that says you're doing amazing, which I'm wearing. And then a third one that says I love you. So if you're interested in any of those, they're really cute and comfy. I will put the link in the show notes. I am partnering with a company to make them, and they're made to order. I don't make them, someone else does, but it's made to order in the US. But because of that, it takes like 2 weeks to get to. So if you're like, I have a, you know, bachelorette party this weekend and I want everyone to have hats that say I love you, I'm probably not going to get them to you in time. But if you're like, I just want a cute hat with a nice message and I'm okay waiting 2 weeks if it means I get to support Katie, then you can use the link and get it that way. Okay, on to the episode. I still haven't come up with a different word than meat. On to the bulk of the episode, I guess, is what we'll say. So first, we're going to talk about signs that you are being put on pause. And at least for me, these take me so long to realize. I do think I'm getting better at it, but like the universe will keep making these signs louder and louder and louder until you finally pay attention to them. And it's like if you refuse to pay attention to them at all, it will come to a point where you have no choice but to act upon the signs that they're giving you. So one is that things just stop working or stop progressing. So maybe you were like really steady on this one path, things were growing, you were feeling good, and then all of a sudden the things that you were doing are not working anymore and you didn't change anything and it doesn't seem like your external circumstances changed at all, but for some reason what was working is no longer working. And I think when that happens, we have a tendency to get really frustrated and want to push and blame all these different reasons. And really, it's just the universe trying to help you out and be like, look, we're giving you a sign that, like, we don't want you to continue down this path because there's another path that's more fulfilling for you. That's the other thing is like when this happens, it always means that there is another path that is better for you. Even if it is only slightly different, in the long run, in the course of your life, it is going to be so much better than the path that you're on right now. And so that is why these redirects have to happen. The next thing, which is a big one for me, and I think probably a lot of other people, but we don't always want to recognize it, is changes in our body or physical health. And I have a complicated history with body image and not trusting my body and not taking care of my body. And so, like, basically, when I have an ailment or I'm sick, the things that will go through my mind is either I totally ignore it. I just pretend it's not there. I go on about my life and I just like hope it goes away. Or I panic and I get afraid that it's never going to change and I'm going to be in pain forever. And I know that sounds super dramatic, but I had a period of time where I had really severe stomach digestion issues for over a year. It was so painful. I had to do so many tests, so many like elimination diets. And I don't know, I just had so many doctors like dismiss me or tell me that, like, I don't know, take all of these supplements every day for the rest of your life and then you'll be fine. And it still didn't work. I, followed that and it still didn't work. So I think I have this fear reaction that, like, when I don't feel good, specifically with my stomach, I'm like, no one's going to be able to figure this out. This is just going to continue on for forever. And that's not the case. I feel a lot better now than I did in that year and a half when I was struggling with that. But I just remember there were so many times in that time period where I just like broke down crying and I was so upset. So those are kind of the two uh, areas that my mind goes to, either totally ignore it or be really afraid of it. And really, I know that I don't want to take away from the fact that people have like real illnesses that need to be addressed. And I think that that is very important. In addition to that, whenever our body is feeling out of tune, or we're getting headaches or stomach aches, or we're just achy, or we're tired, yes, there very well could be a medical underlying reason that needs to be addressed, but it's happening for a reason. Our body is trying to tell us something. It's trying to tell us, hey, you need to change this lifestyle or this high stress job or something like that. And yes, there may be a physical medical issue with it, but it's coming forward because our body is trying to tell us something. And it's so rare, I think, that we actually trust our bodies with that. And instead, we just kind of push it away or we get scared. So, over the past like couple weeks, I have had basically a feeling of being a little bit sick every morning. Like, I'll have a headache and maybe like a little bit of a sore throat, kind of lingers throughout the day, but it's never gets over that threshold of like, oh, I have a cold. And then it started switching to feeling nauseous and having a headache. And before, I was ignoring it when it was like the cold symptoms, but as soon as my stomach got involved, I was like, oh no, this is terrible. Nothing is going to be solved. Just like jump to worst case scenario instead of just being like, okay, maybe this is just my body telling me to slow down, change some of my lifestyle habits. I feel like I haven't been eating the best recently, and I don't want to say what the best is. I don't want to trigger anyone in that way, but just being able to take better care of my body and listen to my body. And I just know that in the past 2 weeks, there have been so many times where I'm like, I just feel like laying down, but I never do, because that feels like lazy and like I'm just wasting the day away. But if I had just like laid down in those moments instead of just pushing through, it probably wouldn't have escalated to the point where I was needing to lay down for most of the day because I was so nauseous. And so I really just tried to sit with the pain. And I'm not that it matters, but in case this popped into anyone's head, I'm not pregnant. But I really just tried to learn from the pain and see what it was trying to tell me. And I really do think there are some deep seated core wounds, but also just things that I want to work on within myself and how I show up in the world and how I treat people that have not been addressed. And I think so often when we go through these spiritual awakenings, we fix the low hanging fruit, right? The stuff that is like very obvious, like, oh, I'm going to get out of this toxic job and I'm going to, start meditating and doing all this stuff. But once we get rid of that, it's like what we're left with are these core beliefs about ourselves, about life, that we just haven't addressed, that are waiting for us to address them. So that is what I believe is going on with me right now. But I also was, when I was in my previous job, like the last few months before I quit, I was so sick and it was such a toxic environment. And I did actually have a medical reason why I was sick. But again, I really do feel like it was my body trying to tell me, you have to leave this situation. And I just didn't listen and it just kept escalating. So I think the more that we can just be in tune with our bodies and listen to them in addition to getting medical help, it can save us a lot of literal pain and suffering if we're just like, my body is trying to tell me something, I trust it, and I'm going to listen. So if number one and number two don't stop you, or you haven't gotten them from some reason, the other thing that the universe will do to show you that you're being put on pause or being redirected is you will have technical issues or difficulties or literal roadblocks that won't let you get to where you want to go or do the things that you want to do. So, like for me, the universe has been telling me that whether I need to actually post something different or I just need to change my intentions, like I'm not meant to be posting right now while I work this out. And I have literally tried. There have been 2 times where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get on and do like a quick post, I'll switch it up in this way. And both times I did it, like the first time it wouldn't post and it failed to post and went to my drafts, and I did not take that as enough of a sign, so I posted it again, but this time it like lost all of its edits, and so there was like a bunch of dead air in there, and it was just so weird. So I like deleted it because I was like, I don't want people to see me like sitting fidgeting with my hair because it wasn't edited. And then the second time that I went to post it, a different video, it just deleted altogether. So I was like, note taken, I will not be posting until you tell me to. And so maybe there's like a a big meeting that you need to go to, and there will be an accident, not that you're in, hopefully, but that will prevent you from getting there because of traffic, or some or other sort of technical difficulty that will make it so that you actually cannot perform the job. And maybe if you keep trying, you will eventually do it. But the technical difficulties, the literal roadblocks that will come up, will just become bigger and bigger until they actually prevent you from doing the work and it actually makes you pause. So I think the thing that's in common with all of these signs is the faster you recognize them and the more that you are willing to just listen and surrender to them, the less pain and chaos they are going to cause in your life. The universe doesn't want to cause us chaos. It's only when we choose not to listen and we put our heels in the sand and we say, no, this is the path that I'm going down. That's when they have to start turning up the heat until we listen. And so if we can catch it in the beginning stages, then we don't actually have to go months and years of having stomach pain. It can just be a couple weeks, and then you're like, oh, I think I'm good. I think I solved what they were wanting me to solve. Or you can just have 1 month of not growing your business instead of having to go bankrupt because you're not meant to continue on in the business that way. Like, I know that seems extreme, but if someone is really not meant to go down a path and they're not listening, the universe will not stop until that person stops what they are doing. Okay, so now you're on pause. Now you're like, okay, universe, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. Point taken. I know that I'm being redirected. Now what? The first thing is to have patience. The more that you fight and resist this, the longer it's going to take. Just be open. And I would say the overarching theme of the signs that you should go towards something is that everything has meaning. Nothing is random. No person that you come across, no thought that you have, no movie that you see is random. It is all perfectly connected and divinely timed and orchestrated in a way that we cannot fathom. So the first thing that I would say is, number one, use your intuition. Of course, if you are just being pulled inexplicably in some direction, go towards it. But if you're like, I don't even know where to start, if you are drawn towards something, whether it's a book, a movie, a song, a podcast, a place, a person, there is a reason why you are drawn to that thing, place, or person. So if you are like really thinking about a movie and it just keeps popping up into your head, go watch that movie. If a song keeps getting stuck in your head, listen to that song. If you're thinking about a specific book, or even if you're just like in a bookstore and a specific book catches your eye and you have no idea why, get the book. It is not random. It is a cue that the universe is placing in your mind and in your gut with your intuition to go towards that thing, because there is a message in that thing for you. The second part of that is that you have to then keep your eyes open to the messages. You have to ask for messages and then be willing to see them everywhere. Like, I was struggling with some of the stuff and I didn't know if I was on the right track, and I happened to like check my email and someone had purchased one of the hats that I have that said keep going on it. And it's like, I could just see that as, oh, cool, someone bought a hat from me. But what I saw it as, the universe in that moment, as I was struggling, as I was not sure if I was on the right path, sent me that notification to say, keep going. You know, maybe you were drawn to listen to this podcast or watch this YouTube video for a reason. Maybe you are being redirected right now, and this is them saying, like, hey, hello, we're putting this in your consciousness. Or this is for you to listen to now, because when you're redirected in the future, this podcast episode will pop into your head and then you can go back to it and there will be something in here that will be like, oh, that's the direction that I should go. So it's asking for messages, it's going towards whatever you are drawn to and then looking for the messages while you are there. When you are in this mode, really anytime, but especially in the time of like pause and redirection, inspired action is the only action that you want to take when it comes to your specific path, but also beyond that. So I'm not saying you cannot do anything when you are put on pause, but you want to go towards the things that you feel lit up about, or that for some reason you can't explain, you're just drawn to. You want to go do that thing. Something is telling you to go do that thing. When you are in these pause and redirect phases, throw should out the window. Oh, I should do this. I should do that. I should do this. No. What do you want to do? What are you drawn to? Those are the things that you are meant to go towards wholeheartedly. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter how significant or insignificant it seems, if it feels like it's related to your path or not. It doesn't matter. It's all the same energetic cue to the universe that you are following your intuition, and therefore they will lead you to the path that you are meant to go down. So if you randomly want to take up painting, but you think it has absolutely no idea or nothing to do with the job and finance that you want, it doesn't matter. The universe is showing you, hey, here's this thing that sounds exciting to you. We need you to go after it. Now, are you meant to be an artist? I don't know. Maybe you are meant to be in finance, but maybe by painting, this will unlock some creativity within you that actually changes the roles that you're looking for. And so when you're in these periods, it's like kind of exciting actually, because you get to wake up every day and go, what excites me? What do I want to eat today? Where do I want to go for my coffee? You know, do I want to do that workout, or do I want to do a different one? Or do I just want to like be kind to my body and go on a walk and watch the sunset? Do I want to pick a new hobby? Like literally just whatever feels exciting to you, whatever lights you up, whatever piques your attention, especially if you can't explain why. It's not random. It's not insignificant. Allow yourself to go towards it. And then I just wanted to leave you guys with some tips that I have found through much trial and error, that I think can really help to not only get you to the other side faster, but smoother, help you enjoy the process. And number one is act like the person that you want to be when you get to the other side. So I have this vision of myself where I, have the career that I want. I feel fulfilled. I, have all the money that I need. I have a family. And I don't know why, I just like picture myself in my backyard with so much ease and gratitude, and I'm just connected to the earth and to nature and to everyone around me, feeling so like abundant and just grateful for life. But that's the end state that I think I want to be in after the universe gives me all this stuff. And the universe is trying to show me, like, you don't get to be that person who has all those things until you act like that person. Like, I'm trying to put the cart before the horse. They're like, the person that you see in that vision is not panicking, is not freaking out, is not like grabbing onto random things for dear life, is not, hoarding things and having this lack mindset and pushing people away. That's not what the person in your vision does. So until you are that person, we cannot give you the things surrounding you in that vision. And I know that's kind of like manifesting 101, but to me, it really helped be like, oh, the version of me that's in this reality would not be panicking right now. So if I want to be that person, I cannot panic. Um, and that's the other thing is like, I think when this happens, it can feel really scary because you're just like in this dark abyss and you don't know what's around the next corner. But if you panic, if you try to force something, if you try to grab onto something, you're only wasting your time. And yes, it might work for a short period of time, but you will just end up being put on pause and redirected again, which is honestly probably what's happening right now. Is like the last time that this happened, I panicked and just like grabbed onto something that actually wasn't what the universe was like fully intending for me. Maybe I got some of it, but not all of it. So now I'm having to come back and do it again. But the universe realized I wasn't willing to sit still long enough the last time in order for them to fully deliver what they needed to deliver to me. So try not to panic, try not to force things because you are only wasting your time in the long run. And then if you do feel frustrated, if you do feel like you're hitting a brick wall, it means you need to take a step back. And I know that this, like, seriously is such a frustrating process because you just want to get to the other side. You just want to see what it looks like. But our souls came here to learn and to grow and to develop. And there are things that we have to learn and grow and develop in before we can be the individual that is on the other side of the path. And so if you can try to look at like what you're going through right now is the exact training that you need to get to where you want to go, then you can start to look at it from a place of gratitude and excitement. Like, this is your training for the dream life that you want right now. So, knowing that, are you going to pout? Are you going to panic? Are you going to be frustrated? Or are you going to relax and be excited and be grateful that the universe is bringing you your dream life on a silver platter? All you have to do is go through the training to get there. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope that this helped. I know this topic has come up a couple times, but I definitely tried to bring a different perspective to it this time because I realized, okay, if this is coming up for me, if I am meant to share this again, it means that I'm meant to share this in a different way, or it's meant to find a new person. So I hope that you found this helpful. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can share it with a friend. You can make it your Instagram story. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to my show. That really helps me out. Follow me on all the socials at Guided Soul Crystals. And if you want this cute hat or any crystals, but whether it's jewelry or otherwise, I'm also wearing my Howlite necklace right now. You can go to guidedsoulcrystals.com. Until next time, keep going. You are doing amazing, and I love you.